Welcome to the fight game with Icewater and Puma, and we are going to recap the fight over last weekend, the Davis Garcia fight, and give me your thoughts, man, because I know I got a lot of thoughts on this fight.
It kind of turned out the way that reasonable people thought it would, right? I mean, Ryan Garcia, it was built up a lot of hype, and good for Ryan. He deserves it. I mean, he came out, he took the fight, which was major, and he talked about what he was going to do, and I think they sold the fight real well. But in the end, what happens is you see where what we talked about. The question is, what could he do with the power? Could he be patient enough? And he was not. He got a little bit antsy. He wanted to try to come out and be more stronger. Wanted to see if he could really take it to Tank Davis, Gervonta Davis. And what he found out was his initial philosophy or his initial plan wasn't working. And he started getting tagged when you start allowing Gervonta Davis to move forward and get closer to you. When you start attacking with that jab regularly, you know something's coming. And let him taste a little bit of the power in the second round when he dropped him the first time. And Ryan still tried to fight his way back and he was moving around a little bit. But at that point, you could just tell it was only a matter of time. He was not patient enough. When you're not patient and his plan went out right out the window, it's just a matter of time when Tank wanted to walk him in the, like he said, he wanted to take him into deep waters and drown him. He just drowned him a little earlier. Thank you, Tank.
Yeah. I thought that, we both thought that Ryan was a little bit overmatched in this fight. Even Golden Boy said, he's probably taking this fight too soon. And I kind of saw something that really kind of piqued my interest in the fight early in the fight, where Tank Davis, especially in the second round, almost like he baited it Ryan to be more aggressive. And so he was holding, he was, looking at the ref, talking to him. And then once Ryan felt like, okay, this guy can't handle me, this guy can't take me, caught him in the second, coming in, being aggressive. And then you could see Ryan kind of feeling that power, like we said last week, feeling that power, being a little bit more cautious, and then hitting him with a liver shot, the liver to make you quiver. And he was just setting him up. And you could just see it in the fight. He was just setting him up for certain things that he wanted to do. And when he first hit him in the liver, I kind of felt like I saw him kind of twitch. And I'm like, wait a minute, he might be hurt. And then all of a sudden he started backing up and then he kneeled down like, yeah, he got him. He got him in that shot. And he just couldn't get up. And so I just felt like this was the same thing with Bernard Hopkins and De La Hoya, where Bernard Hopkins hit him with a liver shot. It was almost like it was a carbon copy of that fight. And, for me, it's like, why do you really kind of hype up these fighters? I know why, because Ryan Garcia is more marketable. He's, a good looking guy. They were talking about whoever wins this fight is the face of boxing. I think they had Ryan Garcia in mind, not Tank Davis. And so I kind of saw after the fight that Tank Davis wasn't getting any love for this fight. They were showing all different kind of highlights, and they weren't really kind of showing the highlights of the fight or Tank Davis. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's the color of his skin. I don't know. Maybe he's not as articulate as you would like, but I think he's the face of boxing. He has stood up the test of time. He is more experienced. I'm looking forward to seeing him box other fighters in that weight class. I already read that Garcia is talking about going up to 140. Big mistake, bro. Big mistake. I don't. If you can't handle Tank Davis at 135, you're not going to be able to handle some of those guys in the 140 weight class. So I just saw, and I've been saying this for a year or so now, that Ryan Garcia is the internet champion. He has a lot of followers. He has a lot of popularity, but you can't play boxing. You got to go in there and fight the best of the best in order to prove yourself that you are this great boxer you've been telling everybody that you are. I love the way Tank Davis neutralized the left jab and the left hook early in the fight, baited him, made him throw it, and then had something for it when he threw it. And so, just like you said earlier, Ryan was not patient. I think he got baited into to putting more pressure, thinking that Tank Davis was hurt or that he was roughed up and that he could kind of dominate. And you just saw that cool down once Tank put him down on the canvas and he felt that power. And that's why I thought that, Ryan would kind of maneuver and try to stay away from him for a little while and fight a little smarter to get to the eighth, ninth, and 10th rounds. But you called it exactly last week, the seventh round.
Yeah, man, I got a little lucky, but I mean, it just again, it just kind of made sense to me. This is even before I knew that Tank Davis had made a prediction, but it just made sense. Where how long could he last, right? How long could he last? Sooner or later, it's going to be like he's going to have to go for it. Going to try to knock him out, or at least try to get more physical. One thing, and once he got touched, then it was just a matter of time when when Tank Davis would take care of business and take him down. Just so happens that it happened in the seventh round. The other thing too, though, is nobody's talking about this. Pay very close attention. Tank Davis is getting better every fight.
Mm-hmm.
Every fight, he's more patient. It's almost like watching, and I don't want to say put him in the same class, but you can tell he's been sparring and doing some things with Floyd Mayweather. You can tell just by the way that he just slows down and he's doing a little shoulder roll now. He's very patient. He's waiting. He's stalking. He's not out of control. He's just more patient when he goes about his business. He's still rough and tough when he needs to be, boxing a little bit more, getting outside, just taking more of a calculated approach to boxing. And compared to being the wild so-called animal that they predicted him to be, one-trick pony where he just goes all out and try to take somebody's head off. Every fight he's getting better, and he's recognizing he's calculating. This camp has a serious game plan because they've been watching the fighters and what they need to do, what they can take away. And that's very impressive to me. I don't know how far it's going to take him. I think it's going to put him in great company. He's going to make some real big time money. But it's amazing too, because now I think he's starting to earn some real money. I think they said he got about $5 million or something like that.
I'm not sure what he got.
But what they said something that was very important. And granted, he's made some decent money. But one thing that was mentioned is that whatever he made, I think last couple of years or whatever, he's only made like so many millions, right? But in the one fight from Saturday, he got a check for the amount of money that he's made in the past couple of years.
Wow.
One fight, which is another Mayweather trait, right? You get the $30 million while other people are trying to do whatever, $100 million, whatever it was, but he's getting those big time checks. And again, granted, he always says, people say, well, he left Floyd, but technically he did not leave Floyd. And he said something too that after the fight, Tank Davis said, I go to Floyd, and because they showed Floyd hugging him, he said, I go to him at the right moments because he's been in the fire. Nobody else I know has been in the fire. He tells me to calm down and stay cool, take my shots. You could tell that he's receiving these messages and he's internalizing them and using them out in the ring. When you have one of the greatest of all times in your camp or even around you and you can get that message, it's definitely coming. It's definitely, he's registering that message with him and it's helping Tank Davis dramatically. I would love to see if there's next time, whatever it is, the chess match with knowing Floyd's in the background when you face the Devin Haney or you face a Shakur Stevenson. Now these fights between Tank or Gervonta and these two gentlemen becomes even more intriguing as he continues to improve.
One last question on this. What is it about Golden Boy who try to get their premier boxers, they try to rush them into fights that they're not ready for? I remember Canelo. They were trying to rush Canelo to fight Floyd Mayweather. Floyd Mayweather was 40 years old. Maybe they thought that he was going to retire soon. They wanted that notch on their belt. And you can clearly see that Mayweather outclassed Canelo. Canelo was not ready. You saw in this fight, Garcia was not ready. You saw with the Bernard Hopkins, with De La Hoya. De La Hoya was not ready for the arsenal that Bernard Hopkins had. What is it about Golden Boy who like to rush their fighters up into these big time fights when they're not ready?
I'll say this. I'm not sure if it's really Golden Boy. I think it's the fighters that want the fights. And they feel like Golden Boy is holding them back. And the reason why I say that is before Canelo, they kept telling him he wasn't ready. Don't do it. Don't do it. You don't want to fight Floyd. In fact, knowing that Oscar De La Hoya had already fought Floyd, he's like, you're not ready. So, and I think one of the reasons why Canelo left Golden Boy is because he wanted bigger fights, and they weren't doing it fast enough. Same way with Ryan Garcia. Ryan Garcia wanted that fight. They clearly said, we don't think you're ready. Now, does that mean that was in their best interest to tell him that? But I'll say this too. It shows you too, after the fight, what they really, I think about Ryan Garcia. They was posting him up, telling him he was this great guy. He has a great future. And I know that De La Hoya's second in command was there at the post conference, but neither was De La Hoya or Bernard Hopkins visible. And they had a reason why they were doing other things. Yeah. But when you see fights like that, Bob Arum, no matter who's fighting, if he put it on, he's there. Don King, no matter what, he might go over to the other dude that won, even though he was backing the other guy. They're always there.
Right.
And they was like, get out of my face, mother, whatever.
Bad optics for them not to be
there. But
not to be death threats and all that other stuff. I didn't buy into all that.
I mean, but not to be there, period.
Yeah.
I mean, how many death threats can there be in the MGM, bro? You got everybody in the world knows who you are. Anybody's coming death threats. I mean, in the MGM, I've been in the MGM. I've been behind the scenes. When everybody leaves, they clear the place out just for those that are media types or those that belong in there with that private circle. So to hear that, and if I'm Ryan Garcia, I'm looking at them like, maybe y'all not the best fit for me, because when I was up, y'all great. Now what y'all gonna do with me?
Right.
You wouldn't even show up. And I tell you what, I watched that little exchange between Tank Davis and Bernard Hopkins, and people want to know what happened in that exchange during the weigh-in. And simply put, Tank Davis, Bernard Hopkins kind of grabbed Tank Davis like, you don't have to get close to him. And Tank Davis literally just turned to him and says, don't effing touch me. Don't effing touch me. You don't have to put your hands on me. And if you keep touching me, you can get it too. And Bernard Hopkins says, you're not fighting me, you fighting him. Tank was like, do not touch me. I was like, whoa. That was interesting.
Yeah, and I saw that exchange too. I didn't know what was said, but I saw that exchange. And Bernard Hopkins was like, you know what? Let me back up a little bit. I ain't as young as I used to be. The next fight coming up next week, your birthday week, is Alvarez versus John Ryder. I don't know too much about John Ryder. I haven't done my research on this guy, and that tells you a lot. Never heard of him, for the undisputed super middleweight title, and that's on May 6th in Mexico. Your thoughts on this fight, man?
Okay, let's keep this 100. I tried to say this before, and I'll say it again. After Canelo won his last fight, right? When he won his last fight, and then after he lost his last fight, the previous fight, prior to that last fight, he was hurt. He got hurt. He got injured, and he said he was injured. So now they wanted to bring him back with a fight that they know he could win. Okay, but they still need him to tune up and be ready, because supposedly he's going to have a big fight coming up, and he likes to fight in May. He also likes to fight in September. Mm-hmm. But in order to get him ready for September, you fight in May against a guy that you know that may be very slow, may not have much movement, like a Bivol, or maybe, for instance, somebody else. And you, even with a plant, somebody you can wait and stalk them and make sure that you're okay as far as your health is concerned. And then you go ahead and have a big, impressive win. And the other part too, they're very smart when it comes to how they market them and make money. Normally it's in Vegas. Mm-hmm. Oh, we're going to go down to Mexico. All my people, I'm having a homecoming. Like it's a huge thing, which it is, because they don't get the same fight like that. He's going home to fight. So he's going to get that money, and then he'll come back in the fall and have a gigantic mega fight, maybe with Bivol, a rematch with Bivol at a lower weight, or somebody else with another bigger name, and he's going to make crazy money because it's going to be on during the Mexican holiday. Right. So as far as Independence Day, so they're going to be looking forward to that. It's a calculated game, and you make sure the hand's okay, right, or your injury's okay. You win this and make a lot of money because he's an attraction. People want to see him, and you get ready for the bigger money down the line. So, I mean, I don't expect anything differently. He may have a little rust from the injury, but I'll be surprised unless his opponent comes out and does anything. So it'll be interesting to see how that goes, as far as John Ryder is concerned, and see whether or not John Ryder can at least stay in the inbounds. I think they want to get this over with quick, like 5-6 rounds, and let's move on.
All right. He's Icewater. I'm Puma, and this is Fight Game.